Why do we have game fences along all the highways where they're trying to put them? Why do we have overpasses and underpasses? If they can manage themselves, they get smacked on the road because of our intervention and what we've already done to screw things up. Why do we have all that? Because we care about wildlife. Mm-hmm. We don't care about it just so we can hunt it. We're only hunting it for about 8 or 10 weeks out of the year anyway. The rest of the time, we don't. But we're trying to make sure that we provide an opportunity for that wildlife to survive, to go from its calving grounds to its winter range, to turn around and have a good life support system and try to save them so they're not crossing highways all over the place. There's specific spots. We spend a tremendous amount of time and effort on habitat and modifying the landscape because of our screwing it up. But for crying out loud, we are part of it. And without us, when they say animals don't need us, I'd like to know how the hell they figure out animals don't need us, that they can survive on their own, that they'll manage themselves. Well, they haven't done a very damn good job of it.
Right. And this goes back to kind of that, I think what started most of this was that Yellowstone documentary on the wolf reintroduction, right?
Yeah.
Which is a completely different environment than you're going to find anywhere else in the U.S. There's very few land masses like that. And then also the story that was told there is not exactly truth, because if you actually look at the wolf's impact and what that did outside of the park, it's pretty shocking.
Well, now you're seeing studies that have come out where the wolves have decreased the elk population substantially, but now the buffalo population has increased to turn around and take and create as much, if not more, damage than what the elk were doing. I mean, putting things... Yellowstone National Park is a beautiful location, and I think for the most part over the last 150 years it's been fairly appropriately managed. Mm-hmm. But to use that as an example, in my mind, is comparable to I shop at 7-Eleven for my family as opposed to I go to Whole Foods or I go to Walmart or I go to Sam's. You can get food, well, you can get edible stuff. I don't know if it's food at 7-Eleven.
Right.
You can get something there to consume. But comparing Yellowstone with the landscape of what we have for natural resources and public and private, lands in the West specifically, I think that's a piss poor analogy. This is the way they did it in Yellowstone. Yellowstone doesn't have superhighways. This is the way they did it in Yellowstone. They don't have power plants.
Well, they are also controlling the amount of people that are going in and out of there, right?
And because it's a federal reserve, so to speak, a national park, it's easy enough to put extenuating sideboards on there that you can't do in other locations. For instance, if you took the size of an area that was comparable to Yellowstone in the state of Colorado and just blocked it out, look how much public land, state land, national forest land, a variety of different lands in that same area that has to be managed for a variety of different reasons that you can't manage Yellowstone by. There's no way, shape, or form. And you can't manage any of those other landscapes like what you manage Yellowstone.
Well, and also those animals don't recognize borders. They don't go like, oh, shit, I'm outside of the park. I better turn around and go back.
They do so more than some of our other borders on the country, but I won't get into that.
That's a great point now.
It's like...
Yeah, we're our own worst enemy, man, when it comes to it. And that's kind of what's going on with this ballot initiative in my mind.